We'll put you on the show just like this. Lisa in Texas, Waking God's Child on YouTube. Thanks so much for being patient. You're on Troubled Minds. How are you? And go right ahead.
I'm great. How are you, Michael? It's nice to be here again.
Yeah, glad to have you back. Thanks for calling. Thanks for listening. Lots of weird stuff here. What is your take on this? What do you believe about syncs in general? Non-linear, open-ended. You take it wherever you want.
Okay. Well, my take involves quite a few takes. Let's put it like that. First of all, I want to say kudos to Derek on his mentioning and contribution regarding the Fallen Angels and the lyrics with the songs and whatnot, and Vegas. Definitely a dead on point there. These things were also written on cuneiform tablets thousands and thousands upon thousands of years ago. So, even those lyrics you hear in sense have a synchronicity of their own regarding that. So you can hear me okay, right?
Yep, loud and clear. You sound great.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to start off with, as you know, I have my own YouTube channel, but my profession aside of that is I'm a private investigator. And so when you have a lot of time on your hands when you're sitting out staking out a subject and in the wee hours of the morning sitting in your car, you start to notice a lot of things around you, near you. I mean, my main job is observation. So being very observant is, one of my specialties, which has kind of led me into the paranormal investigation areas. So I'm going to just go with that, just put that a brief, little intro about myself. I have noticed with all of this that there is probably more than one element, multiple elements involved when it comes to synchronicity. And that includes, the Morgellon aspect. I'm going to put this out there because I don't think Morgellons is actually a thing. I think it's all part of what I'm getting ready to speak about. So when we speak about all these synchronicities, for instance, in my case, no matter where I went, what time it was, whatever it was, on my receipts, on my cell phone and the time, or on an address, or, no matter what it was, I was always seeing certain numbers constantly and consistently. And there was one single day in particular that I was seeing 333s everywhere, 333s or 411s or 911s. There's a lot of different factors. Now, I'm not any pro on when it comes to discussing what these numerical values mean. I have no clue. But all I know is that there was a day every time I looked at my phone, it was either 333 or 303 or I would pass it, like one of my investigations, I had to run a surveillance. The address was on 3rd Street. I had to be there at 3 o'clock. I arrived at 3:03. The house number was 333. And it seemed like that entire day, I went to the store. I had to get my receipts for my own tax reasons and, look on my receipts and it's like 333s everywhere. So these are things that constantly and consistently occur in my life. And there's not any given day that goes by that I don't see a synchronicity when it comes to numeric values. But I can tell you, as a private investigator, one of the things that happened with me is I started noticing the orbs or the lights in the sky at first. So, when you're sitting there, you have to be observant, you have to pay attention. Well, one of the first things I noticed was, these orbs that would just be flying over me. Now, this isn't just my testimony. This is thousands of others, and it seems to be really more prominent in this day and age, and starting around maybe 2016-ish, somewhere in there, that a lot of people are experiencing that synchronicity to where every time they walk outside, and in my case, every time I walk outside, there is some sort of an orb or a craft, or I don't know what you want to call it. You can call it what you will, but it's not a coincidence that there's so many of us that when we walk out, I don't know if it's consciousness or we're thinking about it, but these things show up, and they show up every single time. But with that said, I'm going to go on to, I've tried to exhaust every measure in, that there would possibly be. Being an investigator, that's kind of one of the things that I'm pretty good at.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like I said, I think this is a multifaceted.
Perfect. Real quick question. I got a real quick question there. So regarding these orbs, Literally, you see them every day. Like if you walk out of the house, they're in the sky. And if
every day.
Okay, every single thing,
Every
like
day.
no matter where you go, like there are these things out there that you're
I
noticing.
can't think of one time since 2017 that I have not had that happen to me. Keeping in mind that it never happened before. It never, ever happened before that. You know, a lot of people might call it an awakening or a calling or a spiritual, you know, aspect. Here's my thoughts. We have technology. The fallen angels, they're very real, number one. That is true, first and foremost. I mean, I have no doubt. And again, biblical aspects go even, like, that came way later. Those come from way earlier tablets. So what I'd like to say with that is that I know that we have technology that, you know, for instance, we have electromagnetic frequencies. Everyone knows that when we got sick with the cough and everyone had to go indoors and remain there, they were busy in our schools putting in lights. So I'll just say lights. I mean, I have to code things on my own YouTube channel. So, you know, all of your lighting,
thank you.
your towers going up everywhere. And I mean, this was a big deal. Okay. So we know that they did that. I can tell you that it seemed like then after that, you know, of course, everyone was getting sick, and it had like a scenario, a ripple effect. And you can call that synchronicity as well if you'd like. But I mean, I wonder, and I have to wonder again, if it's not an electromagnetic frequency being emitted from these halogen lights, the towers that they placed literally on every block. And I know for a fact nobody's cell phone reception is any better whatsoever on any level. Okay, we know we have a technology of graphene. We know that we have nanotech. We have the abilities of nanotubes and self-assembly with those components. It's a very real thing, and it's technology we have. And where did that technology come from? You know, that's, again, we can go back to, yes, there's some very ancient things involved in my own opinion. But I mean, when you look at these things and you think, okay, so if we have, for instance, Neuralink, right? We have Neuralink, and they're just saying, hey, you know, you could get this implant and you know, you could have this ability. But what if, and here's my thought, what if that's already been distributed, whether it be via air, via water, via, you know, whatever you consume or breathe. And again, these are nanoparticulates with self-assembling qualities, right? So what if they're already reading everyone's, you know, thoughts and minds and needs and wants on top of social media? Because that's a dead giveaway. But to me, the technology is there. We've had it. We know LSD was used on our soldiers years ago, and it's only advanced from there. So when we start seeing these numbers and these things, and everyone's thinking about the same thing at the same time, I mean, is it a frequency? I have to ask that. I mean, and you understand where I'm coming from on this, right?
Yeah.
Are they controlling our thoughts to a certain level?
Yeah, I talk about this all the time. Sort of that, and I don't, and I mean it sort of in a vague, abstract way, because I don't know exactly what it is, but I think we all feel it. That's why we talk about this stuff. But I call it like a cosmic control mechanism. And I know, like you said, social media, mass media, that's all, you know, the fear stuff, the MK Ultra for the masses, that stuff's all real and quantifiable. And, you know, very real. Like most people that are sort of into this sort of bizarre stuff we talk about, they understand very well when you mention those things. But I do wonder, you know, sort of the idea of archons and like a larger, maybe a cosmic control. Yeah. Because fallen ones or aliens, whatever it is. Yeah. It doesn't even have to be that. I mean, but those are definitely options in this case. And so to me, I do understand and feel how we're sort of led down particular paths as people, you know, the negativity, if it bleeds, it leads, all the rest of that stuff. But it also seems like, you know, if you go read Lord of the Flies, even left to our own devices, it seems like without, you know, the mass media brainwash and the MK Ultra type stuff, it seems like we still sort of revert to this just bizarre brutal tribalism anyway, without
Exactly.
any of the technology we're dealing with. So it does make me wonder, as you're describing. So I know what you mean,
You
because
betcha.
I call it a cosmic control mechanism, and I don't know what it is, and that's why we talk about this stuff. But yeah, very very well said, and I'm in tune with you.
So that's where I was going next, and I'm glad you brought that up. So there's people like you and I that we have these YouTube channels. That's what we do. We bring up these discussions because obviously everyone that contributes, we all learn from one another, right? But I myself, and I'm sure you're probably there with me, know that there is, because I don't feel like I'm being controlled. In fact, I feel like I'm the opposite. I can see sheep everywhere, and I'm sure you can as well. But I feel like I have, I've always colored outside the lines and never been in the flock, so to speak.
Yeah, you know what I call
was
that,
always
Lisa?
in the corner, a young child in school.
You know what I call it?
But I think that there is that supernatural force. 100%.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it feels like it. It's just like, I just wanted to, because it's a funny thing that you said, coloring outside the lines. I call it, when I make fun of myself in that regard. I'm like, I've never liked being told what to do. I have a problem with authority. it seems like it seems like it's the calling. It's the calling. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh no, you're good. No, I want to hear. I mean, honestly, that's how we all learn, and how we're kind of gathering the information that's actually pertinent. And I think it's pertinent for not only this life, but for what comes next. And I believe full-heartedly that there's something significant, like the most significant, that comes next, and whether, people are of faith. And, I don't necessarily fall into the religious lines. I grew up in a religious home, and it actually put me the opposite way as far as that, because I feel like that was a measure of dividing everyone, and meant to divide everyone, putting them in their own place and just fighting against each other, so to speak. But I just know that, okay, so we're experiencing synchronicities, but you look around at the sheep or the people around us that are on no level of where we are in thinking, and isn't that synchronicity for them that they're all doing the same thing? They're going to the department store. They're buying the next best thing to whatever brand is popular. Got to have a Tesla. Got to have this. Got to have that. I mean, they're on their own kind of materialistic synchronicity, so to speak. So I don't know if we want to call it growth. I don't know if we want to call it, a holographic world, a parallel universe. We do know that we have DARPA, HARP, and CERN that are very real factors and everything. But spiritually, I think, and I think that about you as well, Michael, because I've watched you, and I can usually gather, a lot about a person by I don't even have to be in their presence and to just know that there's a spiritual aspect, a spiritual portion of us that know that there's something bigger and better, and there's something to figure out, and it's not on a man-made level, right?
Yeah, 100%. That's why I do this. This does not pay the bills. I come here and do this, and even to my own detriment, because I think these conversations are important. I think we need to consider options that nobody ever talks about, and so that's why I'm here. I talk about it all the time. Look, I'm grinding my guts out to pay the bills and do this. And because I think it is.
That's me, and I admire that about you, because I mean I cannot get monetized. I've crossed the boundaries too many times, so to speak, on my own channel. I've got plenty of people there, but it's not about that. Never has been about that. I'm doing what you do, and we need to figure this out. We need to stick together, because I think in the end, no matter what, our numbers are what matters. The people like us, the people that understand, are awake and aware, the more we come together, they don't have a leg to stand on. And I think they know that, which is why they try so hard. And most of you will know what I mean when I say why they try so hard, because they do. They try to break you down and weaken you. But I'll tell you what, I'm in the fight. You're in the fight. We're all in the fight. They can't win. So...
yeah, the biggest thing too,
like, throw that out there.
Yeah, no, the biggest thing I always say too, with regard to this stuff, is just don't be afraid. That's the biggest thing. Is the control factor is that if we're afraid, they can tell us what to do, and we'll do it because we're scared of what comes next. Hey, look,
you betcha. I live alone, and when you walk outside and you see those lights, or I've seen things. I mean, if you go to my channel, you'll see one night, a light being, I don't know what else to call it, walked straight through a brick wall and through a refrigerator and out into the field and disappeared right after the strike of lightning. And talk about terrifying. That was one of my first experiences. But the thing is, I know that I don't have a spirit of fear, and I no longer have any fear left in me because I've figured out that we are much stronger than we realize. We have like superpowers, so to speak. I mean, it's literally it's in your heart, it's in your spirit, it's in your soul. It dwells within you, it lives within you, and it's there. All you got to do is reach down and grab it and utilize it. I mean, it sounds simple, but I mean, you just got to believe in yourself, I think, most of all.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing too. So you know, like, I'm with you. You said, you know, religious, not religious, whatever. You know, we all came from somewhere. We're all moving somewhere else. And so, look, some people like.
Yeah, we know that. Yeah.
Yeah, whatever that means. I mean, like, and it's personal. Like, I don't want to judge anybody on like those levels. Like, we're all going through something, and so that's all fine. But what I mean.
That's just it. Yeah.
Yeah. Is that so in a larger sense
Michael,
here?
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, of course.
Have you noticed with the guests that you have on your show, or you know yourself in general, does it not seem or appear that somewhere along the way, that individual that is now awakened to the reality or starting to question truth had to have hit rock bottom, whether it be just a horrible divorce, or you know, homelessness, or the loss of a loved one, or, you know, a child died, or, you know, something like that. Their whole worlds were devastated and destroyed. And it seems like that's what jolts them into the awareness.
Maybe. So I can't. I don't know like very much. I don't know you as you're aware. So it's like we don't know each other on that personal level. So I can't say specifically, but I can speak for myself. And there is a point in my life when I was 20-something, like hot, you know, hot as crap. Just knew all the answers and all the rest of the stuff, right?
Yeah, thought we were hot to try. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly the deal. And so, but I ran into a wall, and eventually, you know, like all the things that were like turning right for you turned sour for me. Like so it's like, you know, you get the momentum, you go, and the worst thing, like probably for me personally, the most let's say. Like embarrassing, just horrific time of my life was I lost faith, but faith wasn't that, like I was going to say there, it wasn't religion or anything like that. I've never been religious. Well, well, that's the thing. But it was faith in myself. So I lost faith in myself, and I think that's the biggest thing here is that. Yeah, that's what it is, but that's the game. I think
you nailed it. No, that's it.
Yeah. So and so that's why. So that's why I work so hard, because I did spend several years there. You know, my early 30s, lost and without purpose, floating.
That was my early 30s as well. Yes.
Yeah, floating in like this rudderless sea.
A lot of people can relate to that.
Yeah, and it makes sense.
So
you know,
I appreciate you sharing that with me.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. No, totally. I'm open with that stuff. Like, I'm as honest as I can be, as short of giving people my address, you know, because I don't want somebody to show up and stab me. But
I'm the girl that puts my phone number and everything out there on my channel. So.
Yeah. Like I said, here's my face. Here's my phone number too.
I totally love what you're doing though, and I just want you to know that I believe in what you're doing, and we need more voices. I'm talking to your audience as well as mine. All the voices we can have is really important. You know, we don't have to have the answers. We don't have to solve the world's problems. But what we need to do is stick together, because we know something's off in this world. We know that there is something that's just not measuring up or adding up. And first and foremost, you feel it in your heart, you feel it in your soul, and your whole being. And when you feel that, it's time for change. It's time for movement. It's time to figure things out. And there's strength in numbers. And I do believe that wholeheartedly. So.
100%. 100%.
Also, Michael, I would just like to ask you to, I want to have you on podcast. I know I'm putting you on the spot right now, but I would love to just have you on my own channel if you get some time. I know you have my number. It's very visible to you. I'm not going to throw it out there tonight.
I already did.
kind of weird.
I've linked Lisa's YouTube channel in all the places. Please give Lisa a follow. Awakening God's Child. It's already out there. This is part of the point, right? So there's a lot of people that get like cranky and upset when you're like, oh, what are you doing? You're trying to like promote your crap here. No, like you took the time and the energy to call me and have a conversation with me and talk about things that are important. Why would I not say, hey, go follow Lisa? Follow Lisa. It links in the chat, in all the chats.
That, but that's actually not what I love for that, dude. I do. I just really would like to speak to you on a personal level, and even if it's not on podcast, there's actually some things that I don't really feel comfortable saying out here anyway, but some things going on in my world and this world that I'd like to pick your brain about. So
Sure.
Just figure out a way to approach it, if that makes sense.
Okay. Troublemindsradio at Gmail. Send me an email and we'll set something up for sure. I'm definitely open to that.
All right. Well, just screenshot my phone number too. That'll be good too. So,
okay.
But I will do so. I'm like you. I'm a busy woman, single mom. Actually, my last one just graduated. So
nice. Congratulations.
Yes, I would love to talk to you.
Okay. Awesome. Right. Sounds good.
Thank you guys for having me on. I appreciate it.
Appreciate the call. Thanks for being you. Thanks for the drop in the fire. Yeah, and we'll talk to you soon. Have a great night.
Okay. Bye.
Thanks a lot. So that's Lisa again. So talk to her before. She's called in once or twice or three times. Maybe this is the third or fourth time. I've got a pretty good memory when it comes to that type of stuff because I try very hard. I'm terrible with names. I try very hard to remember people, and I'm better with voices and faces than I am with names. And so so that's the way this works. And so I just try very hard to make sure that I understand people, sort of the things they say, what they're doing, sort of resonating or not, or this type of thing. Like I said, not judgment, just sort of to catalog in my brain. But amazing stuff from Lisa there, Lisa in Texas. One more time, give her a follow. Link's going to be in the description. By the way, I'm going to add her to troubleminds.org/friends. She's not there immediately, but she'll be there when this podcast hits tomorrow. Her YouTube channel is called Awakening God's Child. And she actually, the first time she called was when we did a show on Morgellons. And that's a wild one. That's a weird one. I mean, we're talking sort of in the realm of Havana syndrome type stuff, right? It's just bizarre. It's super bizarre. So look, there's a lot of different people out there with a lot of different experiences, and that's what this has always been about. It's about talking to people, regular people having extraordinary experiences, or at least having extraordinary thoughts. You don't have to be an experiencer to be on this show. Just be you, and be considerate and kind, and know that all of us are flawed and wrong sometimes. And that's that. But yeah, amazing call. Thank you for that. And so tonight we're talking about synchronicity.